However, before we get into this fascinating, shocking encounter of a vicious mountain lion attack, let's go ahead and discuss some very intriguing statistics about mountain lions. So first, they have enormous and powerful legs, which allows them to jump as far as 45 feet, and they're also able to jump 15 feet vertically. And they're also known to be able to sprint up to 50 miles per hour. And they also say that there's about 30,000 mountain lions that reside within the mountains of the western US. And also, a lot of people don't know that the cubs and kittens of mountain lions, they usually have spots for about 1 year into life. So that's why a lot of people get them confused with leopard and cheetah cubs, because a lot of people don't know that these mountain lion cubs and kittens have spots up until about 1 year. So, and then also the range of a mountain lion is about 100 square miles. And then also one thing that a lot of people have to know too is that mountain lions usually always avoid people. However, due to a lot of unsustainable development, urban encounters with mountain lions are becoming a lot more common. And then also another statistic that a lot of people don't know is that mountain lions used to roam throughout the US. So basically, you were able to find a mountain lion in almost all of the 50 states. However, now mountain lions are a critically endangered species in the eastern states. And they also say that there's only about 100 endangered Florida panthers that actually live within the Florida wilderness. So now let's go ahead and take a look and finish this shocking encounter with a young male mountain lion where these 5 ladies were in a fight for their lives for about 45 minutes. So the prevailing advice that a lot of experts say to do when you encounter a mountain lion is to make yourself big and as loud as possible. So 2 cougars walked onto the gravel trail that the cyclists were riding on. The first cougar kind of took off. However, the second cougar paused, and once it paused, it tackled, lunged at one of the cyclists who were a few feet ahead of the rest. And this victim and this cyclist who was attacked by this young male cougar said she only had about a split second before she saw the cougar's face, and then when it tackled her off of her bike. So once this cougar tackled this victim off of her bike, they stumbled, they fell into a ditch. That's when the cougar sunk its teeth into the jaws of the lady and basically just pinned her face down into the dirt. And then also, the victim said that she can feel her bones crushing and possibly her teeth falling out too as well. So, within this vicious struggle, the victim heard all of her friends frantically mobilizing, screaming, yelling as loud as possible, and then also hitting repeatedly the cougar with sticks and rocks. However, this did absolutely nothing. And the lady said, what do we do now? So one of them tried to choke the cougar, but they said it was like choking a rock. It did absolutely nothing. And then also one of the ladies had a small little 2-inch pocket knife and repeatedly stabbed the cougar, but that did nothing too as well. And then even one of the ladies tried to jam her hand into the mouth of the cougar to hopefully, make the cougar bite the second lady too as well to relieve some of that pressure, some of that bite force. But that did nothing too as well. So these ladies were like, what do we do? Our friend is being attacked by this vicious cougar. She's pinned down, and whatever we do, nothing seems to impact this cougar. So one of them decided to grab a huge boulder, about 25 pounds, about the size of a large lemon. And she decided to repeatedly drop this boulder on the cougar's head about 4 to 5 times. Then you also have to understand that this was very risky due to the fact that the cougar's face was so close to the lady's face too as well. But after about 4 to 5 times of dropping this huge boulder on the cougar's face, they were tired. They did everything that they could, so they sat around, for about 15 minutes, and then finally the cougar showed, weakening strength and finally let go. And when this cougar let go, one of the cyclists grabbed her bike and pinned the mountain lion on the ground. And then the other ladies joined too to put more pressure on this mountain lion and have it pinned down to the ground with one of their bikes. Thankfully, fish and wildlife were close by, and they actually arrived within 30 minutes. And when this officer showed up, they instructed the ladies to stay pinned on top of the mountain lion, because what I'm going to do is that I'm going to shoot this lion in between the shoulders. And that's basically what caused this whole catastrophic and shocking and scary event to end, was the shooting of the cougar by the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And they actually did a necropsy on this mountain lion, and it showed no signs of physical stress or even no sign of rabies. And they estimated that this particular lion that attacked this lady was about 9 months to a year old. So definitely a very fascinating incident. And this situation made it really difficult for the ladies, because they said that all of the 5 cyclists were animal lovers. Okay, and this is a very shocking instance due to the fact that these ladies took all of the prevailing advice as far as what you're supposed to do when you encounter a cougar. Yell as loudly as possible, make as much sound, and make yourself look as big as possible. However, this cougar still attacked, and not only did it attack, but it showed no signs of any distress. It showed all the signs of a normal and healthy mountain lion. So, one thing that you do have to consider too as well, as we develop more and more unsustainable development, urban encounters with mountain lions will definitely increase. And what's even more shocking too is that it seems like they're becoming more vicious and more aggressive. And this could be due to the fact that they know that when humans move into their habitat, there's probably less prey and then also less range to roam around too. And then also, a lot of these unsustainable developments contaminate the air, the water, the animals. So there is a possibility too that they know that their prey is becoming sick too, the fish, all of the prey that the mountain lion feeds upon. But definitely take precaution whenever you're in the North American wilderness, because there's a lot more cougars out there, and they do not like the fact that humans are encroaching more and more into their habitat, and they may take action. And what's even more concerning too is that what all of the experts say to do when you encounter a mountain lion apparently did not seem successful in this particular incident. But thank you so much for listening to the one and only Twilight Mysteries. And we're going to be back with a lot more fascinating encounters with animals, creatures, and everything within the earthly realm that's mysterious. But thank you so much, and goodbye.